with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. There's not really much difference between the way I behave and the way a 4-year-old child behaves. And in many ways, 4-year-olds are far more mature than I am. They can take the bumps. Me, I stew and let the anger build until either I kill someone or myself. That's how I operate. Today I went down to Subway. I don't even really like Subway. Subway's fucking shit, but I haven't eaten it in a long time, so I was excited. My little jiggly man titties got nice and perked up. I walk into Subway. I'm glowing. I'm ready to eat a fucking foot long. I stand in line. I cough on the old bitch next to me to get the line moving. It's my turn. I get up there. I'm like, "Sir, will you do the pleasure of fetching me a foot-long meatball with Italian herbs, fresh, not toasted?" And he gives me a big smile, like I'm emitting love into the world, into the universe. It's contagious. He comes back with the bread. He slices it open. Watching him slice it was a thing of beauty. I'm like, this guy knows what he's doing. Knife in, straight down the edge of the footlong, opens up, beautiful, spreads it open, fresh bread. You could see my hard nipples through my winter jacket. That's how excited I was for this fucking Subway. Then he gets the meatballs out, 2 big scoops of meatball, right in the middle of the roll. I'm like, that's a weird place to put all the meatballs right in the middle, considering the fucking bread's foot long. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. Usually they spread it across the whole bread, so you get an even bite on every bit of the foot long. This guy's dumped 8 right in the middle. There's 8 meatballs in the middle of the foot long. Then there's like 4 inches either side of these meatballs, just bread. No meatballs on them at all. I'm like, surely he's going to spread them out. Surely for fuck, he's going to spread them out. Then he just puts the meatball spoon away and goes, "What cheese would you like?" And I'm in shock. I'm looking at him going like, I don't even want to answer what cheese I want until you fucking sort these meatballs out. He's like, "What cheese?" I'm like, "Old English." And he doesn't even spread that across the whole foot long either. You know how they have like halves of the cheese and they spread them nicely along the foot long and they all interlink. So each bite of the foot long you take is an evenly subpar mouthful of food. We move on to the salads. I still think there's hope. I still think this is salvageable because I'm a dreamer. Once I've given up that last little bit of hope, what's left? He's like, "What salads would you like?" I'm like, "Everything." And he's already got a handful of lettuce. I'm like, "Everything besides lettuce and carrots, thanks." And he dumps the lettuce and gives me a look. I'm like, "I don't want fucking lettuce, cunt. I don't care if your hand was already there." Then he starts putting the salads on. And there is no way I can fully describe the horror of what went on next. Cucumbers overlapping, piles of olives, jalapenos just fucking misplaced everywhere. Tomatoes stacked up, and it's all going in the middle of this foot long, on top of the meatballs. He's building some sort of fucking demented Subway sandcastle or something. I look at the sandwich, I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. I have no fucking idea. I look at him, and just this rage wells up. This fucking anger. The red fucking mist is moving in again, and all I'm picturing is just leaning over the counter, fucking grabbing him by the neck, pulling him over the counter, and beating him to fucking death with my foot long. And I am deep in this fantasy. I'm sure he could feel the vibes I was sending out. Then I'm like, I can't keep fucking doing this. I can't go to level 10 anger over a Subway fucking sandwich. If I continue doing this for another few years, I'm going to fucking die. I'm going to need another Subway sandwich to replace the energy I've expended on daydreaming about murdering this cunt. Then I'm like, just walk away from the counter. Just don't watch any more of what he's doing. So I turn away from the counter, take a few steps back, take a few deep breaths in. Then I start positive thinking. I don't know how I became this guy, and I don't particularly like it. But I'm like, just be grateful. Just be grateful that you can buy a Subway sandwich. You don't know anything about his life. Maybe he's had a bad day. Maybe he's a completely autistic retard. Who knows? Just have gratitude. And I'm self-talking. I'm getting myself through it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm maturing. Normally, this would have ruined my fucking week. And I calmed myself down completely. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm becoming a better person. All I had to do was rationalize it. If I don't see him make it, It's not going to piss me off. And when I do finally eat the Subway, it's really not going to be that much different. I'm not really going to notice, besides those first 2 bites on either end. So I'm like, I think I can do it. I think I can go back to the counter and not want to murder this cunt. I've had a fucking breakthrough. So I go back to the counter. He finishes up and he's like, do you want any sauces? I'm like, nah. And he's like, salt and pepper. I'm like, just pepper, thanks. Then he goes to close my footlong and the fucking bread tears because everything's in the fucking middle. And he just fucking squashes it shut, cuts it in half, shit's falling out. He picks it up, more shit falls out, he crams it back in, wraps it up, and I'm standing at the counter. I can't even move now. The red mist is back, and I am just staring through him now. I'm not even eyeballing him. I'm staring directly through him. My pupils are taken over, my eyes are completely black, and I just can't move. I'm like, what are my options here? Do I just walk out? Do I murder him? Do I make him remake it? Do I pay for it and just throw it against the fucking wall? Obviously, my nipples are down now. My perky little man boobs were now droopers. I paid for it and I still had hate and anger and vengeance in my heart. And I walk out the door and I'm like, I can't continue living like this. Then I started thinking to myself, how would a 4-year-old react to this? A 4-year-old wouldn't give a fuck. They'd just be happy to have a Subway. Why can't I just be happy to have a Subway? That's what I want to get back to in my life. I just want to be happy to be getting a fucking Subway. Self-talk is so fucking gross, but I'm going to have to start doing it. I need to start intercepting myself before I even get to that stage. I need to walk in there with perky tits and just fucking convince myself, no matter what happens in here, my perky titties are not going to droop. But they did today. They drooped. Eating it was a nightmare too. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be like. The first 2 bites either end. Just pure bread. Half the shit was on the paper, so I'm eating like cucumber by itself, olives by itself. I'm like, Subway only works if it's in a uniform, even, mediocre mouthful. Alright, that's it from me tonight. Subscribe, do all that shit. See you the fuck later.